Okay, let's dive in. So picture Seattle, not just, the rain and coffee Seattle.
Right.
Imagine beneath that, there's this hidden world. We're talking shape-shifting werecats, vampires, demons, even dragons, ancient powers,
Yeah.
all lurking just out of sight.
Exactly. And that's the world we're getting into today from our sources.
Yeah.
These are excerpts from a really fast-paced urban fantasy novel.
Yeah.
And it's not like a textbook study, but it gives you this incredibly vivid look at this complex supernatural scene and the very personal fights these characters are in just to survive.
Right. So our mission here in this deep dive is really to get under the skin of this story. We want to meet the main character, figure out the big conflict, what's at stake, and untangle these relationships because they seem just as important as, the magic and the fighting. They're messy, complicated.
They really are. And we're hoping to pull out some surprising facts, key insights that are kind of woven into the action.
Okay, so where do we start? Who kicks things off?
Well, the story starts with our narrator, Delilah D'Artigo. Now, she's a weircat. And you might think, okay, sleek, tidy, right.
Yeah, that's the stereotype.
But the source just knocks that down immediately.
Yeah.
Tells us she's a self-proclaimed slob. She says, quote, I know, being a weircat, I should be fastidious and tidy, but it just wasn't going to happen. I was a slob.
Huh. Okay, so relatable right off the bat, despite the whole werecat thing.
Totally. And she sounds pretty striking visually, golden shag haircut, these really sharp emerald eyes,
Yeah.
athletic build, but covered in scars from past fights, you assume.
Right. And she runs a lot on instinct, especially in her cat form.
Oh, absolutely. That instinct is key.
Yeah.
But her survival isn't just about her. It's her family, her team.
Okay, who's in the crew?
So early on, we meet her sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Nolly, she's a vampire. And Camille, who's a witch.
Okay. Busy household.
You have no idea. Then there's Chase. He runs the FHCSI team.
Very human crime scene investigations.
Yeah.
Got it. And he's Delilah's boyfriend.
Yep. Also living with him. Smokey, who is actually a dragon.
A dragon, just casually living there.
Pretty much. And Morio, a fox demon, a yokai. And Iris, who's a Talon Alticha.
What's that? Like a house elf?
Sort of, yeah. A Finnish house sprite.
Right.
Super protective, incredibly old. So this house, it's not just a home. It's like this fragile ecosystem of different powers, different species, a real found family.
And they're based right there in Seattle, in this house.
That's right. The story literally opens with Manali trying to navigate Delilah's disaster of a room. Gives you a real snapshot of their chaotic daily life.
So domestic chaos, but I'm guessing the danger isn't far behind.
Not at all. Things kick off almost immediately. There's this slightly awkward, funny moment first, though, involving Delilah and Chase.
Oh, yeah.
She apparently tried to, quote, tease him awake so we could have a little late-night fun, and accidentally hurt him.
Yeah.
Again.
Oops. Okay, so even romance is dangerous.
In their world, yeah.
Yeah.
She winces thinking about it,
Yeah.
and he apparently gives her grief about, like, previous scars from the same maneuver. It's this weird mix of intimacy and, well, occupational hazard.
Right. But that vulnerability, it doesn't last long.
No. Suddenly, there's a crash, an intrusion. And Manali, the vampire sister, she just steps up, takes charge immediately. Defense mode.
And Delilah? What's her move?
We're cat instincts. Poof. She shifts straight into cat form for stealth. Hides under, like, fir trees, ferns, huckleberry bushes. The source is specific about the local plants.
Even mentions the thorns she'll deal with later. Nice detail.
And it mentions a key rule. Shifting back to human isn't automatic unless it's the full moon. Otherwise, you need focus, visualization. It's mental, not just physical.
Okay, so she's scouting. What does she see?
Sees the intruder. Tall guy, leather duster, clearly a demon. She shouts a warning to someone named Roz, who's also there.
And Roz. Helpful. Huh? His reaction is pure sass. I know you quit, and he just runs straight at the demon.
Okay, Roz sounds like fun. Who is he?
He's an incubus. Another demon type. And this little exchange, it gives us backstory. Apparently, Roz used to hit on Camille, the witch sister.
Yeah, until Smokey the Dragon stepped in. Even in his human form, described as 6'4", gorgeous Smokey just dragged Roz out and, quote, beat the crap out of him. Took Roz 2 weeks to recover.
Wow, okay. So Smokey's the muscle and protective, establishes the pecking order.
Definitely. Don't mess with Camille when Smokey's around.
So this immediate demon threat, it gets handled, but it's part of something bigger, right?
Much bigger. The main enemy is this demon lord, Shadowwing. And things just got way worse.
How so?
Shadowwing's general, a Roxa named Carvanak, which is a seriously powerful type of demon you don't usually see Earthside. He stole the third spirit seal.
Spirit seal. That sounds important.
Incredibly. Losing it makes everything more dangerous, weakens barriers, maybe unlocks power. Bottom line, it makes Shadow Wing's plans easier and their fight harder. And Carvanock had already scattered their place, their target.
Man. And adding to the pressure, you mentioned Chase, the boyfriend, has this intense job.
Yeah, heading up FHCSI. He co-founded it with Seattle PD. But he's stressed, needs more resources, needs their cousin Shamas on the team.
Yeah.
And one of his coworkers just got killed by a troll.
So he's dealing with his own daily dose of deadly supernatural stuff.
Right.
Explains why he might not always be there for their fights.
Exactly. It adds that layer of real-world pressure, even in this fantasy setting. Plus, there's this little hint about Delilah herself.
Yeah.
A possibility she had a twin sister who died, and maybe Delilah inherited her powers. She hasn't really looked into it. Her dad's not around to ask, but it's floated as maybe explaining some of her own strength.
Interesting. Okay, so she's got hidden depths, maybe, and that strength is needed for what comes next. Tracking some kind of nest.
Could have been a demon nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chase found it. Calls them, quote, nasty buggers, though.
And are they nasty buggers?
Oh, yeah. The source does not hold back. Demonic blowflies. From the subrealms. Big as your head. Super fast.
Big as your head. Okay, nope.
And the sting. It paralyzes you almost instantly and implants eggs, which then hatch and, quote, nibble the victim from the inside out.
Okay, that's vivid. Horrifyingly vivid.
Tells you what they're up against. So gearing up for the raid, it's practical. Delilah's in heavy jeans, motorcycle gear. Roz has his duster. Van Zier, another guy with him, wears denim. They're ready for a brawl.
And where is this delightful nest located?
An abandoned house near Boeing, South Seattle, the industrial district. The source describes it pretty well built on landfill, kind of grim and gray by day, spooky at night. Lots of soup slubs around there, too.
Including one called the Famtabula.
Yeah, Vampire Club.
Yeah.
Delilah mentions passing it and that Manali hates it. They think the owner, Terrence, is shady, maybe mixed up with demons. Foreshadowing, maybe.
Probably. Okay, so they get to the house. They know they're expected.
Yeah, quote, they knew we were coming, and we knew they knew. No subtlety here. Delilah just kicks the door in. Seems pretty proud of her kickboxing lessons paying off.
Good for her. So they head inside. Basement. It's always the basement.
Pretty much her thought, too. Quote, want to make a bet the venidemons are below ground.
And the descent is creepy, I assume.
Yeah, dark. She's using a broom to test the steps, thinking grimly, with that thought to cheer me up. Morio lights the way with his glowing green wooden stick. Like a bad monster movie, Delilah thinks, only, quote, what we were facing was 10 times worse.
Lovely. And what else is down there? Besides the head-sized flesh-eating flies.
Spiders. Lots of them. Delilah freaks out. Holy crap! Spiders! I hate spiders. Apparently she's developing a phobia. Links them to hobo spiders and this hunter's moon clan of were-spiders they fought before. Even her fears have a supernatural edge.
Great. So, spiders and venidemons, what do the nests look like?
About a dozen scattered around.
Yeah?
Larvae wriggling like giant worms, the full-grown flies. Smokey managed to hit them with a freeze spell, but it's only temporary.
Okay, ticking clock, and then something else shows up.
Yeah, something. Incorporeal. A spirit. A revenant or shade. And it seems really drawn to Delilah specifically. She's wondering, why me? What's so special about me? Ties back to that twin thing, maybe.
Could be. Can they fight it?
Van Zier tries.
Yeah.
Smokey attacks. Nothing. Their weapons just pass right through. It's on a different plane or something.
So it's reaching for Delilah, and then...
And then she changes, not just a shift. Her body twists, reforms into her panther self. Big black cat, powerful. And the air gets freezing cold.
Whoa. And then...
And then he arrives. The Autumn Lord. Hiran! Stands right behind her. Powerful. Elemental.
What you liked?
Intense description. Jet black hair, maple leaf garland, diamond eyes, cape, frost coming off him. Smells like, get this, graveyard dust, old books and bonfires.
Okay, that's specific.
And evocative. He's holding a silver chain attached to her collar. And he calls her my death maidens. Plural.
Death maidens. Plural. What does that mean?
Unclear at this point, but chilling. He just commands the spirit, down, dog. Dismisses it in this shriek of twisting color. Total dominance.
So this is happening on another level, while the fight's still going on.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
She's in this shifted dimension with him. He touches her cold, sparks fly.
Yeah.
He gives her a quest.
A quest now.
Yep. Go to a place called Darkenward. Find the Panther's Fang.
Okay.
And he creates this link. His name, Hiran. She can't speak it, can't write it. Magic mist fills her throat if she tries. It's their secret.
Wow. Heavy stuff. And Darkenward sounds bad.
Her reaction says it all. Quote, "This wasn't sounding so much fun after all. Darken Ward was a feral woodland. Basically a really dangerous magical forest." So yeah, this reveals a whole new layer to Delilah. She's not just a werecat anymore.
Right, connected to this ancient power. Meanwhile, back in the basement...
The fight's still on. Smokey's torching the larvae, which are apparently wailing. Delilah, in panther form, takes on a full-grown venidemon. Instinct takes over, kicks it, stabs it. She's fully in the fight.
Okay, so chaos, danger, higher beings, how do they get out?
Smokey plans something, quote, good and probably explosive. They make a break for it. Morio helps Camille. Delilah grabs Roz and Vanzier. They glimpse glowing eyes in some portal room as they bolt past, but no time to investigate.
Just another day at the office,
Yeah.
so they escape.
Did ya?
Injuries.
Oh, yeah. Camille's hand is bad. Hellhound acid blood, quote, burnt through to the bone. Delilah's really worried, wants to get her to the FHCSI lab for elven healing apparently faster than Iris.
But Camille wants to stay.
Determined. But Roz's salve isn't enough. The wound looks nasty. Delilah just winces at the memory of the smell in the basement. They agree. FHCSI lab it is.
And the drive home. You mentioned Roz and Manali earlier.
Yeah, Manali's quiet, but Delilah sees this. Silent communication between her and Roz. Wonders for a second if they're, involved, but dismisses it. Roz isn't the type to be quiet about that. Just shows the complex bonds they all have.
Okay, so that wraps up the raid, but then things shift to Delilah's personal life, specifically Chase.
Big time. There's a flashback. Delilah calls Chase's office, talks to a woman named Erica. Erica identifies herself. Says she's Chase's friend. Then clarifies, no, girlfriend. Chase's girlfriend. Then casually drops that they used to be engaged. And hangs up.
Ouch. That's brutal.
Leaves Delilah completely stunned. So confrontation time. She finds out, yeah, Chase slept with Erica.
What's the excuse?
The lamest excuse ever. Quote, she's just, I was so horny and you were.
Oh, don't finish that sentence.
Delilah doesn't let him. And I was what? Conveniently not around? She points out she'd have been there in a heartbeat for, quote, quickie lunch. She's furious. Hits a wall carefully so she doesn't break it with her worst strength's fighting tears.
It's not just the cheating, is it? It's the dismissal.
Exactly. She throws her own past back at him. Remember Zachary, the Wirapuma?
Vaguely. She had a thing with him.
Yeah, and she told Chase immediately, quote, at least I had the guts to tell you about Zachary right after it happened. I didn't keep on fucking him. For Delilah, honesty is huge. She hates liars. This cuts deep.
So reeling from this, what does she do?
She calls Zachary. Impulsively asks him to dinner. He's surprised, but jumps at it.
Okay.
And she just unloads everything. Quote, the whole sordid scene spilled out. Tells him she and Chase aren't playing footsie right now.
And this leads to...
They end up sleeping together.
Yep.
Out in the forest. The source mentions some anatomical challenges with his Wirapuma form.
Right.
But they work it out in human form.
Right.
Mutual desire, maybe comfort for Delilah. It's complicated.
Seems like everything is. What about the morning after?
It's kind of sweet, actually. Cuddling, he has this, quote, goofy smile. He starts to ask about Chase,
Hello.
but then drops his own bombshell.
Right.
He's running for city council in Puyallup as an openly soupy candidate.
Wow. Okay. That's big.
Yeah, Venus, their shaman, is backing him. But the traditional Puma Pride elders, not happy at all. Adds this whole layer of soupy politics into the mix.
So amidst all this danger and drama, how does the team hold together? Is there support?
Absolutely. That found family aspect is huge. Morio tells Delilah that Camille really values them, knows she's lucky, never makes them feel like sidekicks.
That's nice.
And Smokey, the dragon. He senses Delilah needs support after Camille gets hurt and just quietly walks with him. No words needed.
And Iris, the house sprite.
She's the fierce protector. When Vanzier and Roz want to grill Delilah about the Chase situation, Iris shuts them down. Quote, leave Delilah's business to Delilah. Even tells Delilah herself, basically, handle your business, but no violence against Chase in her house. Sets boundaries.
She sounds like the den mother.
Totally. Manali's practical too, brings food. Smokey apparently loves pizza. Looks after Maggie, who seems to be a younger person sometimes with them. Deals with her own vampire politics. Vampires Anonymous, killing her sire. It's intense. And Iris's hearing is mentioned as being super important for security.
So when Vanzier and Roz do show up with urgent news later...
Iris makes them wait. Family first, mission second. It really shows her priorities.
Okay, let's circle back to that quest. The Autumn Lord sent Delilah to Darkenward.
Right. To find the Panther's Fang. Getting there involves portal travel, which sounds awful. Quote, like being torn to tiny bits. Then, Whirlwind spins you back into one piece again. Dizzying.
Yikes. Not exactly a scenic route. How do they handle dark in a word?
Team formation. Shows their training. Smokey covers the rear. Morio and Iris take point. Delilah and Camille in the center. Morio the demon defers to Smokey the dragon as alpha here. Trust. Rolls.
And the place itself, dark in word.
It's practically alive. A feral woodland. Super dangerous. Big venomous spiders called lacey spiders. The source mentions finding skeletons in their cocoons.
Lovely. What else?
Venomous snakes, wire rats, goblins, trolls. The usual charming woodland creatures.
But it's not all bad.
No, it's also a treasure trove for magic stuff. Ingredients like youngberry and Aisha flowers. And we learn more about the team. Iris admits she's way older than she looks, has reinvented herself several times. Morio says he was summoned from Japan by Grandmother Coyote. Adds depth.
And Delilah feels the place changing her.
Yeah. She feels herself becoming, quote, far more dangerous, far less trusting since she left Otherworld before. This journey is definitely impacting her core self.
And Camille senses something dark.
Corpse talkers. Nasty business. Quote, trust me, we do not want to witness whatever dark rituals they pursue. Delilah shivers, remembers a creepy rhyme about them, and warns Camille witches and corpse talkers touching. Big magical explosion risk. Rules of magic are specific here.
Okay, noted. Then they get attacked.
Yep. Winged centaur. Comes out of nowhere, they sense it's bad news, attacks Camille, knocks her into thorns.
Ouch.
The team reacts instantly. Morio goes full demon form 8 feet tall. Smokey attacks, a blur of white and silver leaving gashes. Iris pulls out a box, unleashes an ice storm, freezes the centaur solid. Teamwork in action.
Frozen solid. So, what now? Kill or capture?
That's Delilah's dilemma. She actually thinks, what would Menali do? Decides they have to kill it. Too dangerous, can't trust it. Quote, he won't talk. Was out for the kill.
But she struggles with it.
Yeah, having blood on my hands. But she forces herself to accept it. Quote, we're never going to go back to the days when life was gentle. Wipes her blade. And here's this inner voice, or thought. And so are you, Delilah D'Artigo. And so are you, acknowledging the change in herself.
That's heavy. Do they find the plant? The panther's fang?
Eventually, yeah. Near a lake. Smells like brackish water. Looks like rose geranium's thick roots. Iris says it's super potent, can only take cuttings, leave an offering, and Delilah has to be the one to harvest it. Her quest.
Okay. Mission accomplished, mostly. But then another twist about someone named Trillian.
Big twist. Trillian is Camille's lover. Been missing for months, presumed in danger. They run into someone named Ernol, ask about him. Ernol's like, missing. Now, saw him 3 days ago.
What?
Camille's floored. Turns out Trillian wasn't missing. He was tracking their father. Something bad happened involving him. And Trillian, quote, let us go on thinking he was in danger on purpose.
Whoa, deception from within the inner circle. That's rough.
Adds a whole new layer of family drama and mistrust. So Delilah's dealing with that, plus the fight, plus the chase situation. She's really grappling with it all. Quote, what was I going to do? Realizes simple times are gone.
And when they get home, it's not over.
Not even close. Vanzir and Roz are waiting. Playing cards, actually. But they have news. Urgent news.
Let me guess. Another seal.
The fourth spirit seal. They found the cave where it is. Carvenak got the guy who knew the location, but Vanzir managed to, steal the memory before Carvenak killed him, maybe. Anyway, they have the location, but they have to go tonight.
No rest for the wicked or the world savers. Does Delilah even get sleep?
A little. Menali wakes her gently, calls her kitten, furble, gives her cat form ear scritches. Menali's already dressed for battle, smells like blood. She bought them extra sleep time, sisterly protection.
Nice moment. Any levity?
Tiny bit. Menali teases her about Smokey's secret real name. Delilah jokes Camille will wheedle it out of him eventually. But then reality crashes back in. While they were gone, Carvenak's goons attack the house. Iris's sharp hearing saved her and Maggie. But the place is trashed. Furniture smashed. They think Carvenak was looking for Iris or Maggie, maybe. Since their cars were gone, and Menali was known to be there, asleep.
Man, nowhere is safe. Okay, you mentioned Vanzir before. We need more on him. He's a demon, but allied.
Yeah, and the source gives context. There was this intense binding ritual to tie him to their side. Sounds painful and unnatural for him, involving their blood forming a living chain of energy beneath his skin.
Whoa!
He chose to do it, which is why they feel obligated to protect him even though he's a demon. Quote, beggars couldn't be choosy about allies.
Got it. So when Iris insists they rescue Chase.
It's about family loyalty. Quote, he's part of the family. Maggie adores him. And Zachary, despite the awkwardness, immediately agrees. He's a good man. Loyalty trumps drama when it counts.
But Carvenak wants Vanzir back.
Desperately. And Vanzir is terrified. Quote, raw fear. He cries out, no, you can't. It's visceral. Quote, he might be a demon, but he really was terrified of his own kind. Manali has to tell Delilah to back off, let him be.
Intense. And then Roz drops his own secret about someone named Frail.
Yeah, Frail. The succubus they might need info from later? Turns out, she's Roz's ex-wife.
Ex-wife. A succubus and an incubus?
Apparently. They were married, deeply in love before transformations. Then someone named Dredge killed his family. Roz thinks Frail isn't working with Carvenak willingly, thinks she was sold to him, trapped, like Vanzir.
So another rescue target?
Manali thinks so. Quote, sounds like we might have 2 people to rescue. The mission just got more complicated.
Which leads them to the Fangtabula Club.
Right. To find Frail, get intel on Chase, Manali knows the place. Not the cleanest, shady side. Gambling rooms vanish when cops show up. Spooks the cops like crazy. She's sure the owner, Terrence, is dirty, probably dealing with demons.
High risk. How do they approach it? Spy mission.
Manali's plan. Her and Delilah. And Manali wants Delilah to pose as her pet.
Her pet.
Yeah. Joking about collars. Quote, you're used to wearing a collar, aren't you, kitten? Delilah's not amused, groans audibly.
I don't blame her. Does Zachary go?
Delilah says no, too dangerous. But Roz argues for him, calls him a good ally, adds that his ex-wife, Frail, likes wares. So Delilah swallows her pride, agrees, even apologizes quietly to Vanzir for doubting him earlier, admits it's easy to become the very thing you hate.
Good moment of self-awareness. And Frail, what's the deal with her?
Roz has, she plays both sides of the fence. Survival tactic, maybe? Makes her unpredictable.
Okay, so the team is set. Wardrobe change for Delilah. Please tell me not the pet collar.
No collar mentioned, but Manali is disgusted by Delilah's usual tank tops and ripped jeans.
Right.
Raids her closet, finds Delilah's secret chain.
Which is?
Gold lame pants. And a fringed halter top.
Oh, no.
Delilah is horrified. Calls it potentially, quote, the most humiliating night of my life. Second only to walking in on Chase and his ex.
Oof. Rough comparison.
Manali tries to buck her up. Says Chase needing some, quote, sniveling, snot-nosed debutante isn't Delilah's fault. And then tells her the backstory about Roz and Frail, married, loved each other, Dredge killed his family. Adds weight to finding Frail.
Okay. So, dressed humiliatingly, they head out. Any instructions for the others?
Yeah, Delilah tells Camille and Morio to use magic on Chase's stuff. Try to pinpoint his location. Practical magic. But she's worried sick about Chase. Thinks Carvenak's treatment. He, quote, couldn't survive that treatment. Wonders if he could ever recover.
Always personal stakes. The journey to the club.
Rainy night. Delilah opens a window, appreciates the rain for a second. Grounding moment. Roz is quiet again, that silent communication thing with Manali. Delilah is still curious, but trusts them.
Inside Fangtabula.
They get there before the main crush. Smart move. Easier to spot Frail, but the vibe is intense. Quote, intoxicating, frightening, a smorgasbord of emotion and hunger, thick with supernatural energy. Manali spots Frail almost immediately.
What's Frail like?
Interesting description. Not stunning at first, but then she sort of glowed. Hair gets shimmery, lips look fuller, succubus glamour kicking in maybe.
Makes sense. And Roz confronts her.
Straight up. Uses their past. Quote, on the honor we once shared, are you in league with the Raxa?
And her answer.
She confirms Carvenak controls her, quote, but not by my choice. Validates Roz's hope. She's trapped.
So, intel acquired. Time to leave? Smoothly.
Not a chance. Vampire attack. Led by one Delilah fought before. Chaos erupts. Manali headbutts someone. Roz uses these firecrackers that release garlic smell.
Garlic bombs. Nice.
Effective. They escape, quote, screeching out of the parking lot at 60 miles per hour. Noticing, thankfully, no cops around yet. Think government cuts, Delilah notes dryly.
Yep. Okay, so Frail gave them the address for Chase.
Yep, with a crucial warning. Yard, it's booby traps, so stick to the walkway. Manali puts out a silent call for Smokey, bringing in the big guns.
Smart. They get to the house. Delilah changes.
Immediately, back into her heavy jeans and jacket. Feels, quote, much better. But Camille tells her to keep the gold outfit. Her scent on it could be useful for tracking or other magic. Waste not, want not.
Good thinking. Into the house. Broom first.
You bet. Quote, you might want to test the way as you go. Learn her lesson. Downstairs. Yeah. Bloatwurgle.
Bloatwurgles. What fresh hell is this?
Stench is the first clue. They breathe fire. Delilah remembers Roz saved her from one before. Sees glowing eyes. and just charges, quote, like a crazed berserker, full death maiden mode engaged.
And Chase, do they find him? How is he?
They find him. He looks awful, quote, worn like he's been to hell and back. Hand is badly injured. Delilah's just praying, quote, that the severed finger was the worst. Zachary's there too, must have followed or found his own way.
Chase sees Zach there with Delilah, awkward.
His reaction is telling. Quote, I understand. But Delilah cuts him off. No time. Focus on escape. Chase is terrified, asks if Carvenak is still alive.
And cue the villain entrance.
Right on cue. Carvenak appears. Quote, no, they haven't been able to kill me. And this is where Delilah has that huge internal moment.
The death maiden moment.
Yes. Fully accepts it. Delilah, death maiden, obliterator of souls, harvest woman of the dead. Her father's blade reacts, feels right. The blade seems to speak to her. Wake me, Delilah. I will help you. Keep your soul intact. It's her embracing this power, this destiny.
Okay. So Carvenak's there, big fight. The source mentions a citation.
Yeah, that seems to be the next major confrontation described.
Yeah.
The citation is called the Avatar of Death. Powerful, fearsome.
Sounds like a step up even from Carvenak.
Feels like it. The fight shifts planes, goes astral. Everyone else vanishes. Just Delilah versus this thing.
What's it look like on the astral plane?
It was cloaked before, now it's brilliant white light.
Yeah.
Delilah uses her third eyelid, some kind of mystical sight, to see it properly.
In the fight.
She grapples with it, in her panther form. It's draining her essence, sucking it away. But she pulls back. It stumbles, surprised by her strength. She realizes her power is boosted now by the Autumn Lord. It's a test of this new connection.
Does she win? What happens next?
She wakes up in a hospital ward.
Okay. So she survived. What about the others?
They're all there, all injured. Chase, sleeping, hand bandaged. Manali holding his hand. Zachary looks the worst, quote, like a mummy. Bandages everywhere, had back surgery, apparently took a hit meant for Chase.
Oof. Heroic move. Who else?
Smokey's exhausted. Van Zier is covered in bandages, has a splint. Camille's bruised. Everyone is banged up.
So they got the seal, but paid a heavy price.
That's Delilah's thought exactly. They almost lost people. But Camille tells her, you saved us all. The citation would have killed everyone. Credits Delilah's intervention on the astral plane.
Wow. Okay. So hospital recovery. Does she talk to Chase? Clear the air?
Yeah. He wakes up. They talk, honestly. He looks rough, admits they, quote, were rough on me, took more abuse than getting my finger chopped off. Looks at his hand sadly. But then the key line.
Yeah, I understand now line.
Exactly. Quote, but you know what? I understand now. Facing that kind of power, that terror, it gave him perspective on Delilah's world. Maybe her power, too.
How does Delilah respond?
Puts the team first. Quote, we need you, Chase. Whatever happens between you and me, we need you. Practical.
Yeah.
But then he expresses real regret. I hurt you. I can't believe I did that.
Does she let him wallow?
No, she stops him. Says Manali explained his side, quote, how you needed to feel strong and how I might be making you feel like less of a man because of my father's bloodline and how it makes me stronger.
His reaction.
A peculiar expression. But he accepts it. Quote, yeah, okay. It's going to happen from time to time, and I can accept that. It's a huge step. They agree on a rule going forward.
The open relationship rule.
Sort of. More like an honesty rule. Quote, if I see someone, then you tell me first. They decide to take it one day at a time. Realistic, acknowledging the difficulty, but choosing to try.
And they reconnect. Even in the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Delilah wants him, asks if he's up to it. His response is enthusiastic. Quote, oh yeah, just take a look. So she strips down, gets in bed with him.
Wow, okay.
She describes their connection, quote, matched rhythms. Felt like I could never get enough of him. Finding comfort, intimacy, even amidst the pain and recovery, shows how vital that bond is for them.
So personal lives are complicated, but maybe heading towards some kind of stability. What about the bigger picture, the supernatural world?
Things are definitely stirring there, too. Two Fae queens show up, Asteria and Evil, bringing news, tidings about the sisters.
Queens, like major players.
Seems like it. Evil's got some sass, quote. This is the thanks you get from those who ran away. Bit of history there, maybe.
But they're offering help.
Queen Asteria is. Wants to put aside old issues, unite against the demons. Says Delilah and her sisters, quote, seem destined to lead the army.
Lead the army. Whoa. Big promotion.
Huge. Evil agrees to represent the triple threat. Sounds like a powerful Fae alliance. And it ties into Camille's past actions, like freeing Evil from imprisonment. That move apparently annoyed the OIA, the official Otherworld agency. Camille feels she's, quote, as good as gone from the fold.
So her actions put her outside the establishment, but maybe aligned her with these powerful queens.
Exactly. She thinks the Hags of Fate guided her, that this fight is, quote, bigger than just us. Shows the complex politics. The Tartigos are becoming leaders, but maybe rogue leaders.
And it's not just politics with the OA, there's other tension.
Yeah, hints of growing unease between Fae based on Earth and those from Otherworld. The Supi and Community Council notices, but human groups like the FBH's, Full-Blooded Humans and the Fairy Watchers Club dismiss it. Threat of another Fae civil war is looming, just adds another layer of potential disaster.
Man, it never ends. Okay, wrapping up. Any loose ends tied up? What about Frail?
She went back to Otherworld. Roz says they just argue too much now. She still loves him, he thinks, but he doesn't see it working out between them. Delilah, fresh off her own relationship negotiation, thinks maybe he should give it a try.
Interesting perspective from her. And the twin sister.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Delilah confirms it. Quote, I met my twin sister. Didn't get her name, but plans to ask her father. Expects honesty this time. So that's a big personal quest opening up for her.
Okay, so danger, destiny, family drama. How does this chunk of the narrative actually end?
On a surprisingly hopeful, almost light note, Delilah, Camille, and Manali are running home together under the moon. Suddenly feel lighthearted, quote, all three of us laughing, heading home to their dad, lovers, family. Back to that core unit.
That's actually really nice after everything.
It is. It grounds it all. So this deep dive, I mean, it really threw us into a world where these huge ancient threats are slamming into modern life, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And the personal lives, the relationships, they're not separate. They're completely tangled up in the epic battles. We see characters constantly being shaped, changed by what they have to do to survive.
Yeah, we saw intense action, those venidemons, the citation, but also really rich world building. Darkened Word, the spirit seals, all the different species.
And the character growth is huge, especially Delilah coming to terms with this death maiden side of herself, while also trying to navigate love and betrayal with Chase and Zachary.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How much can you go through? How much violence and darkness can you face before it fundamentally changes who you are? How much of that, quote, gentle past self can possibly remain?
That's a heavy question. Or this. In a world so full of danger, where even allies might have hidden motives or pasts, like with Trillian or Frail, how do you ever really know who to trust, even within your own family, which is already so complicated and powerful?
Exactly. It's a constant tightrope walk. And clearly what we've seen here, it feels like just scratching the surface of this world and these characters. There's obviously so much more going on.
Definitely leaves you wanting to know what happens next in their fight.